All right, so now that we have our barricade logic where we have our cached world position and we now have access to, whether or not it is an attack position and all that kind of stuff, we can move on with the AI logic. So what I want to decide on here is basically the transition. So we either attack or we chill, basically. So let's add a new state called attack. And same thing, we'll add a delay forever. And then let's go ahead and add a print task. And we'll do a attack. Let's have another one under chill, print string again for chill. And we'll end up having to rename it at some point too, but it works for now. So on state complete, we basically need to figure out, some sort of condition. So let's do a condition here of bool compare. So let's do the bool of payload is attack position. So if the attack position is false, then we can simply go to chill. If it is, well, not, we do something else. So let's add another on state complete, going to attack with the condition of another bool compare. And actually, we should probably reverse this because it's more likely to have them be in the attack position than it is to have them be in the, what do you call it? To be in the, can't think of the name. I guess you could say waiting position. So let's swap these around. So we want to go to the attack position if the is an attack position is true. We want to go to the chill position if the attack position is false. So let's go ahead and see what happens. So I want to go ahead and reduce this down to, I guess, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and space them out to where we have a good, consistent, like 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can tell, which one's going to what. Wrong key. So let's give it a try. So we have attack, chill, attack, and this guy should be attack as well, which he is. So that seems to be working as, well, intended. So now let's try it with, let me duplicate just one more. Run our slow-mo. And if I kill one up here in the attack, so this guy is now triggered to attack. So is this guy. And there we go. So that all seems to be working just basically how we want. So now we have to kind of more or less work on the attack state. So once we get to the attack state, we can more or less kind of, I guess you could say, re-trigger or start attacking, via, say, an ability, something like that. But we need to figure out exactly how we want to handle the attacking. So I was kind of leaning towards an ability. So we head over to our zombie attack, and this is when they attack the player. We activate the ability, and we start listening for when the attack montage has, hit a notify. So in our case, when a certain notify has, been hit, we can simply pull off a board from, whatever barricade that the zombie is interacting with. So here's where we kind of need to more or less figure out a couple other things, because we need to know, which barricade is the zombie even at. For starters, we don't really have I guess you could say, a way of storing that information. We could do it in a player controller. We could just, actually, the player controller or the AI controller is actually probably not a bad idea, because the way we're doing it here is we are just doing a get all actors of class to basically find the initial barricade. And I don't like that. at some point or another, I want to get rid of this here entirely. So this state is just non-existent. And then I don't want to go into any selected state. I basically only want to transition on an event. And that way the game mode can pretty much, find a zombie, a specific barricade to go to, So it has that control rather than, just the zombie randomly decides to just go to a barricade, I guess, more or less. So that's something we will have to implement. So to begin there, we just simply need a AI controller for the zombie. So let's go to our zombies module.build.cs, and we can go ahead and add the AI module because that contains the AI controller and all that stuff. And let's also, while we're at it, go to our zombies, zombie player pawn, zombie pawn. And let's go to our AI controller. And okay, so that is all we have in it. And we're also going to mimic this in it too. So to begin, let's go to our public folder, make a new Unreal class of AI controller. And let's do a subfolder called AI. And we'll call this one the zombie AI controller. All right. So in our case, we don't need the tick function. We do want to leave it to tick. Actually, yeah, we need it to tick because of the set focus logic. Otherwise, it simply will not actually, I guess you could say, rotate to face, what it needs. And now we just want to add the state tree AI component. So we'll make a protected section, U property. Let's do visible anywhere, blueprint read only, category equals zombie AI. So T object pointer of U state tree AI component. Let's just call it state tree. What do they call it? AI component. Add that in the constructor U state tree AI component, like so. And yeah, that's not a scene component or anything. And that is for the most part about it. So I don't really care to say start the logic or anything. We're going to have to set focus later, but we can make it to where we actually start the logic when the game mode tells us to. So that's kind of the main thing. So here in the AI controller, we need to hold pointers to a few things. So for starters, let's go ahead and add a U property. I don't really care to, let's do blueprint. We'll make a separate function for it. So T object pointer. This is going to be to a barricade. So this one will be the, let's do targeting barricade. So from here, we can have a void set barricade, taking in a barricade. Let's just call it barricade. And we can have a getter. So U function, blueprint pure, category equals zombie AI of a barricade, get barricade. So that way, if we need it from blueprint, we can at least access it because we're going to need this from inside the ability. So inside of set barricade, let's simply do, good grief, I cannot spell, targeting barricade equals barricade. So now let's just go ahead and while we're at it, include our barricade. So now we have, for the most part, our AI controller set up. And when we set the barricade, I want it to automatically activate the state tree. So basically the idea being, let's pretend the game mode just spawned in this zombie pawn. What I want it to do is figure out, okay, what barricade should the pawn go to? At which point, the zombie or the big game mode will set the barricade. Then it will go ahead and activate the corresponding AI, what do you call it? State tree component, whatever you want to call it. What's it called? Yeah, start logic. And from there, we know which barricade we want, so we can simply set focus on it. So we want to set focus to the given barricade. However, we don't necessarily want it to be, on the barricade itself, but rather I guess you could say a unique, or not a unique, what do you call it? A, whatever position we have basically assigned to us. So what we're also going to do, and this will probably be useful, is in addition to passing in the barricade, we can pass in the slot as well. So specifically the zombie position. So we want to make it take in the barricade. And while we're at it, let's take in the F zombie barricade position and call it position. So that way we know, which position are we in kind of directly. Because otherwise we would have to go ahead and forward declare. We would have to go ahead and deal with finding, what our own position that we're in from the barricade directly, while the game mode essentially already has the corresponding position basically set for us. So this way, if we want to, we can set focus to be, in one of these slot positions, but say directly in front of it or something like that. So we may end up changing that in the future. I'm not 100% sure yet. But in the meantime, let's go to our game mode and find where we spawn the zombie. So spawn zombie. We have our zombie here. We do all of our ability stuff, yada, yada, yada. And here we can simply go ahead and, whoops, wrong thing. Zombie, get AI controller. Or what is it? Get controller. Yeah, get controller. A zombie AI controller. So in our case, we need to make sure we include this. So let's come up here to, we'll do it below zombie pawn, AI, zombie AI controller. And in the controller, we want to set the barricade. So we need to find just some barricade for this zombie. So we have access to the zombie player start, which can have a pointer to a random barricade. So in our, for the time being, I'm going to basically mimic what our logic in here was, which was, well, finding the first one. So you gameplay statics, get actor of class of the type we need to pass in the world, so get world. Then we want a barricade static class. So we need to store, let's do a found barricade to equal that. All right, we got to cast it. So in set barricade, we pass in the found barricade, and in our case, found barricade, claim slot. So we want to pass in the zombie, which is going to be the, zombie. Then outputs the world position. So in our case, we want to simply, let's see, we can do F vector, claimed slot world location. We'll just pass that in. Okay, What's it complaining about? Oh, that's right, because it returns something completely different. So let's see. I need to do a little bit of thinking here. So let's go to our claim slot, because realistically, let's see, yeah, we do need to claim it. So that kind of has to happen regardless. And we do have our send event. So we basically just need to get the freed up position from the zombie. So let's go back to our game mode. So we need to call the corresponding claim slot. So let's call it the world slot location. Or sorry, slot world location. So F vector slot world location. And from here, so we pass in the found barricade. We need the found barricade. We need to get the barricade position from the slot world location. So that way we can basically just pass it right into the set barricade. So I thought we would have this directly with the claimed slot. However, I was incorrect there. But we do have the slot world location, which we would need. So otherwise we would have to pass it through to set barricade. But in our case, just no. So once we have that, we then just need to send the gameplay event. So let's go to our set barricade down here. So we set the focus and all that. Now what we want to do is simply go to our barricade.cpp. And where do we have that logic? Down here. So state tree component, we need to send a gameplay event with that tag. So let's copy that. Go to our zombie AI controller. So state tree AI component. Send state tree event. Let's go ahead and let's see. So it's not going to auto include that. Nope. So we need data tags. So include data tags state tree event tags.h. Now we just need our freed up position, which is now the barricade position. So that should allow us to spawn a zombie, and the zombie should basically just start walking to the position more or less. So what I also want to do for testing's purposes is make a U function, blueprint callable, category zombie AI as well. So this way we can just do both cases more or less. So let's go ahead and close out of the editor, recompile and relaunch, and I'll explain why I made this blueprint callable in a second. Okay, so once we are back in the editor, we need to first off go ahead and change the parent class from AI controller to zombie AI controller. Then we can delete our state tree AI component because we have it here, and we want to change it to use this default. So our state tree zombie AI, like so. And there we go. So the reason I wanted to do the set barricade as a U function was because if we go ahead and go to our find barricade slot and disable the state and change this to none, so there is no selection, we can see nothing actually happens. And that's because the game mode logic isn't running to spawn, to spawn these zombies. So instead, what we can do is call set barricade. And actually, in our case, we want to grab the first barricades. We'll do a get on index 0. And we need to claim a slot. And we need to pass in, what is it? It's like, here, get controlled pawn in order to claim the given slot, which gives us the slot world location, in which case we can get the barricade position. Again, from that barricade. and pass that into barricade position. So we're basically mimicking the logic right here that is in the game mode. And the only thing left is to try it. So in theory, this should work. Okay, so they set focus. They just didn't actually do anything. So let's try to see why. So it should go to this here. Let's go ahead and do a print string and see if that runs. Okay, which it didn't. So it kind of seems like it's not actually receiving the state, basically. So I guess what we can do is go straight to the chill state. So let's go to we'll just try enter. What does that do? Okay, I don't know what try enter does, but as you can see, now it's actually working. So it should work for those there. And if we go through and we actually spawn our zombies, so we're disabling the spawning somewhere at start round. So here we start spawning our zombies. It should also work for them too. So let's go ahead and give this a quick try and just see if it works. If it doesn't work, I honestly don't really care at the moment. It's not a big deal. We can circle back. So these guys, let's go ahead and select all of them. We'll just delete for now. And try to spawn them. So that guy claims there. That guy claims there. And you can see they are claiming the corresponding spots. And we just ran out of room. So that's the other thing. We spawned a lot more zombies than I think we were supposed to. So that's another problem, but that's for later on to deal with. But anyways, so we now have our AI controller. We know what barricade it is that we are targeting. If we want to, we can actually store the barricade position if we need it. But yeah, we are basically ready to start the attack stuff. We have all the information we need. I can't really think of anything else that we, would need in the first place. So I'd say we are good to go. So let's go ahead. I'm going to remove that print string again because we know that it works from our go to barricade slot. Oh, so try enter. Oh, duh, because of yeah, never mind. Yeah, that is basically it. Actually, that logic could have been because of this running. So now that I think about it, this could have overridden it. I didn't think about that. I'm not too worried about it. I'll deal with that later. But regardless, we have everything we need, so we should be good to go. If you like what I'm doing and you want to help support me, you can find a link to my Patreon in the description below, where you can also get early access to this entire series.